This video is to go over the 8-head and 10-head anatomically correct stick figure. We are going to begin with the 8-head stick figure. I've lined my paper out for every inch. This is just to have that comparison side by side, but also I'm going to be basing my head off that 1 inch in length. So starting off with an 8-head figure, we're going to start with the head. So I will begin with drawing my oval. Think of an egg-like shape. From here, we're going to measure 8 heads down. So this counts as our first. This would be second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8. Even though my paper, I lined it already for this demo purpose, I still put the little tick marks here just so I know that the body is going to end on that 8th head. I'm going to go back towards the top, and so if I take that 1 head down, I break that 2nd head in half. This is where our neck ends. So I'm going to draw a line straight down from the head to the neck. From here, at the top of the neck is also the shoulder line. But from here, at that base of the neck, down to the 3rd headline is going to be your rib cage. The torso is about 2 heads wide, so if you took this head and doubled it, that's about the width of the human body on basic proportions. Yes, this can change. Some people have wider shoulders, some people have narrower shoulders, but this is pretty standard. So knowing that, I'm going to do my oval for the rib cage. It's bigger than the head. And you can see I'm just drawing multiple times around. Make sure this is dark enough so you can see. From here, I'm going to do the base of the pelvis. The pelvis starts at right where your ribs end and go down 1 head length. I make a trapezoidal shape here. Some people also put another oval. You could do an oval or a trapezoid shape. The shoulders and the hips tend to be the same width. They can be wider to show more feminine curves, or they can be narrower for a male, more masculine body. So this line right here where the ribs end, this is your belly button line. So I'm gonna write belly button, or just belly. This line is really crucial because this is also where your elbows meet. The elbows and the belly button are always on the same line across. So if I go back to the top, I put circles in for the shoulders because that is a ball and socket joint. And as I said, the body is about 2 heads across, so if I took the head and doubled it, it would fill that space. And as I told you, the elbow hits right at that belly button line. Since this is more of a hinge socket or hinge joint, I'm going to put rectangles here instead. So knowing this, we connect these two. I'm going to create just a collarbone across, just making it straight for right now. One thing always to keep in mind is if you look at your own body, you can figure out a lot of these proportions together, but the upper part of the body, or upper arm and lower arm, are about the same length. So you can put from here where that wrist is going to begin. So I'm just going to continue this down. I'm going to hold off on the hands just for a second, and I'm going to go to the hips. From here, the hips sit on that pelvis line. I'm going to put them right on the edges of that trapezoid. And from here, I know the knees are 2 heads down. So I also, since the knee is also a hinge joint, I put a rectangle here. I'm going to connect the two. Similar to how the arm, upper arm and lower arm are the same, the upper part of the leg and the lower part of the leg are also the same, but also you can see they're also 2 heads tall. So the entire calf is going to be 2 heads tall. So I'm going to bring that line down. Some people will put their feet here. I actually like to make my figure a little bit longer by putting their feet underneath that 8 head line. And for here, I just make a wedge shape. Kind of looks like a slice of pizza. All right. So we now have arms, legs, but no hands yet. So knowing that that mid-thigh line, this line has a purpose. This is actually where your hands hit, the very fingertips. So knowing the upper arm and lower arm are the same length, the hand will now continue and hit that mid-thigh. Here I tend to just put a block shape. You can put fingertips on it if you would like. And here we have an anatomically correct figure. One thing to go back on is if you look at this torso and we have this line across here, this is our nipple line, which is always 1 head down from the top. 1 head down from that is our belly button. Head down is our pelvis. 1 head down is where our hands lie in the mid-thigh. 1 head down is our knees. 1 head down is our mid-calves, and this is actually where our gastrocnemius goes into our soleus, but instead of going further into that right now, we just know that's our mid-calf. And then ankle. So this is our 8 head figure. So I'm just going to put an 8 next to it. Now we're going to go and transition over to the 10 head figure. It's very similar. A lot of the length is going to come from the legs. And actually for this demo purpose, I'm going to put all the length in the legs so you can see how it transforms this figure into more of a fashion figure. So again, we begin with the head. We're going to go with 1 inch long head. 1 head down, break that line in half. It's going to be our neck. From here, I'm going to put the rib cage, which is also an egg shape. From here is going to be the pelvis. I'm going to go back up to the top at the neck. I'm going to put our shoulders in. I'm going to actually bring the nipple line a little bit down since we're going to exaggerate this figure a little bit more. So that's why I'm creating a new line just a bit below. Here is where I'm going to make this figure similar from our 8 head, go 10 head. So that means that I'm going to add 2 more heads. So this was our 8 head line. So I'm going to go 2 heads down. This is where my 10 head's going to end up. I'm just going to cross the face just because that actually helps with proportions later on. I'm going to go back up to the upper arm, knowing my elbow's in here. Elbow in here. I'm going to bring that upper arm, knowing that our lower arm is the same length. I can eyeball it at this point. I'm going to throw a hand in there. And I'm going to make this one waving just for fun. So by being able to make this hand wave, I know that this is similar length, that I'm just literally just moving it, kind of like if I had clock hands, up, knowing that the hand is going to be a similar length. Okay. So, knowing that the upper leg and the lower leg are the same length, also that this is a 10 head figure, I have 6 heads below to fill with space. So that means that the upper leg is going to be 3 heads and the lower leg is going to be 3 heads. So I'm going to go down to my 3 heads down from the base of the pelvis, put a kneecap in, which I am also doing rectangles again. Knee. I'm going to connect the 2. From here, I'm going to go down to that bottom line, which is my 10 head. I'm going to put my pizza shape, wedge shape, right there, connect the lines. And I've created a 10 head figure. This figure is exaggerated, but still looks accurate. The length came from the legs, which, as you know, when looking at models, we want the nice long legs. This allows for long trousers, long skirts. It also just makes the figure not feel squashed and childlike. As I was saying in class, the children tend to be about anywhere from 3 heads to 5 heads as they age and mature. So we don't want our figures to look short and squat because they're going to look like they're children instead of adults. Men are going to be very similar. The main thing you're going to change is the width of the shoulders. They'll be slightly wider and the hips will stay narrow. With women, we can also make, women are a feminine character. You can make the hips wider to add more curve. And we can also, since this is a stick figure, we can change the size of all the curves to make the person have any type of body type we're wanting to illustrate. So this is the 8 head versus 10 head figure. So good luck.